You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marchegiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Hey guys, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani here in the house. I have Michelle Norris, Keith Norris's better half. We had Keith on the podcast last month, so we're really excited to get the better half going. How you doing, Michelle? How's your day going?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, I know we have the PaleoFX conference coming next month, end of April here over in Austin, Texas, probably one of the highlights of the year. And then you guys are also doing a little shindig tomorrow at South by Southwest as well. So let's chat a little bit about that.
Yes. So Keith and I will be speaking at South by Southwest. We have a booth at the Health and Wellness Expo. What's really cool is, of course, it's at Palmer, so it's like home for us.
Yes.
So it's kind of almost like a little bit of a little heart attack when we walk in today. I'm sure when we start fully moving into our booth today, because it's like, oh crap, our event's like a little over a month away. So we're excited. We're excited that South by is finally doing a Health and Wellness Expo. We kind of feel like they should have probably done this a long time ago, but better late than never. So we're excited to be speaking tomorrow. So our talk is going to be on Welcome to the Human Zoo, and we're excited about it. So
that's great. Are you going to be on one of the big keynote stages?
Yes, we're going to be on the health and wellness stage. So you can come out to the Health and Wellness Expo. It's free, so you can come check it out. And and then our booth, we're gonna have a bunch of giveaways. We have Guiltless Goodies is gonna be there giving away their amazing donuts, and then we also will have Chameleon Cold Brew passing out cold brew. So yeah, we're excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I want to really hit everyone else that's listening here and really wants to connect with more like-minded people that are kind of connected to this community. They get nutrition, they get the lifestyle stuff. They want to get connected to people that are in alignment with this type of functional medicine, ancestral health kind of thinking. This is a great event to attend. PaleoFX as well as the health event tomorrow at South by, I think are great if you want to meet and connect with more people. So we're going to put links down below. So anyone listening to the YouTube video or the podcast, if you want to get connected and be a part of it, click the link below and you can sign up. Phenomenal event. I've been there 5 years in a row and it's the highlight of my year. So absolutely love it. Now in past, we've had people like myself, Chris Kresser, Mark Sisson, we said Josh Axe last year, Dr. Perlmutter. So lots of people that are bringing lots of awesome information. I'm just curious, since you've been doing this, 8 years now? Is it 8?
It's our 7th year.
7th year. Wow. So what's some of the information, maybe your top 3 things that have really resonated with you as an individual? What are things that you've learned that have made a difference and that you've applied to your own personal health?
Oh my gosh, man, that list.
I know it's a big question. I know.
Long. So many things. Probably one of the things that we are most proud of at bringing to PaleoFX is that it's not just nutrition. It's not just about the diet. It's not just about fitness. It encompasses everything. So it is about coming, happiness, mindfulness, about how, entrepreneurship, sustainability, you name it, we kind of run the gamut. Spirituality. We do a lot with plant medicines, and which, by the way, this is just for you, a total scoop because it's not been announced yet, but cool. Dennis McKenna will be at PaleoFX this year, and we're super excited about this. A lot of people know who Dennis is. His brother Terrence is a big activist in the movement for psychedelics and for...
Yes, I've heard of him.
Yeah, and Dennis is going to be, and Dennis is a big activist in his own right. He'll be there. So I think a lot of the things that I've learned is like things like that your health and wellness is incumbent on a lot of different things. It's incumbent on you, yes, being fit. Yes, putting the right nutrients in your body. But it's also about the right thoughts. It's about having the right people in your life. It's about removing all the toxins from your life, not just the toxins that we consume, but the toxins that are on our bodies when we put chemicals on our bodies, because a lot of times, especially women, we use makeup and everything, and we aren't cognizant of what's in our makeup. And so there's this, then there's also, soaps and you name it, cleaning supplies in the house. And then there's toxic thoughts and toxic people. And so that's probably one of the biggest things that I've really learned over the last, 7 years is how it's about, when you go back to a more simple life and you really gut the things out that are not serving you or helping you become a better person or become healthier. So
I love that.
That's probably one of the biggest things that I've learned. And then, oh gosh, all kinds of biohacking tricks. I mean, that's probably one of the things is really understanding how much you can actually not just advocate for yourself, but also be your own, be your own guinea pig. N equals 1. I mean, like go into the experimentation phase and with just being excited and being curious. And so that's probably another one is that realizing that how much effect I can have on my own health, my weight, all of those things. If I am, if I'm using cool little biohacks to, tap in and do those kind of things. So learned a lot over particularly the last 2.5 years. And then the third thing, I think one of the big things too is understanding how much we are a tribe. Like we need people. We need to have people around us that help us. It's that rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. When you get into a community and a tribe situation, particularly at PaleoFX, there's not anything that's like that. And so I think that's probably one of the other cool things that I've learned from being part of PaleoFX.
That's great. Yeah. Every time I go there, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. So I always try to like keep a little notebook and just make a note of maybe the top 1 or 2 things, because if you get so many, then you don't want to get overwhelmed where you don't do anything. So you got to have to like consolidate it down. All right. What are the big 1 or 2? And then after a couple of years, you got a whole bunch of things that you've applied, right?
Oh yeah. I completely agree with that. My attitude going into any conference, because, we attend other conferences and everything, is to glean 3 takeaways. And then really work individually on those takeaways in integration. Because this is the thing, we go to conferences and that vibe and that energy and that excitement is there and we're all inspired and we're going to change our life and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And you're right. You leave and you have so many things.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. But it's really, narrow it down to the top 3 and really work on integrating those things. The thing is, that doesn't mean don't write down the other things. Write them all down, but really go be mindful about choosing 3 things that you're going to take that really were the top 3 things that resonated with you and work on those. And then move on once you've got those integrated. But I totally agree. It's like drinking from a fire hose. And if you if you just leave and you're in this really big bubble of being so inspired and so motivated and everything, and you leave and you feel like, okay, I don't even know where to start. That's where you start. Just 3 things.
Love that. Really good. And I want to get your story, because I know right now you had a couple health challenges in the last year or two that I want to chat about, because I think a lot of people can empathize with that and learn from it. But you came into this world as being a chef, right? You were a chef and then you plugged into this community. Is that how you started?
Yes. So
Okay.
yes, it was my specialty as a chef was Italian.
Oh, awesome.
So I made my own pizza dough and my own pasta.
Wow.
And I didn't come into paleo happy and curious and excited and adventurous. I came into it kicking and screaming. And so I was pissed. I was really pissed. I was like, okay, I have to give up these foods that I absolutely love just so I can be healthy. And I was kind of in a state of denial. And I went through this process of thinking to myself, I'm going to figure it out. And one day I'm going to be able to put these foods back into my diet and I'm going to be fine. And what's so hilarious is I was a food writer for several other food, websites. I didn't have my own blog at the time, but I developed recipes. All of them were sad diet recipes. I'm really ashamed of that. But anyway, so what's funny is when I went paleo, I didn't change that. I kept writing and developing these recipes. And it took me a little while. What happened is literally in 3 weeks of being paleo, everything that I had wrong with me the inflammation had just died. And so I didn't have all that inflammation happening. So I had chronic fatigue syndrome. I had fibromyalgia. I had been diagnosed with early onset rheumatoid arthritis. I had IBS. I had just all kinds of crap. And of course, I've had migraines since I was 17. And so in 3 weeks, almost everything was gone. The migraines were not gone because I was still taking medications, and my medications ended up being
Imitrex or something like that.
Yeah, I was taking, actually I was taking Relpax, and I was getting Botox injections.
Oh, wow.
And I was taking 3 different medications. So I would take one medication was a daily that was to keep them from coming, which was Topamax, which is an anti-seizure medication. And then a muscle relaxer, which is cyclobenzaprine or Flexeril. It's a muscle relaxer. So I was taking those 2 for preventive. And then I was given Midrin. So if a headache started coming on, I would take Midrin to try to get rid of it. And then if a full-blown migraine happened, I would take Relpax, or I would take Axert. Okay, so there's the cocktail there.
Wow.
You can't take Relpax and Axert together. You have to be separated by at least 72 to hours or more because of the serotonin syndrome.
Yep.
And so anyway, what was happening though was I was just rebounding. All my headaches were rebounding and what have you. So I go into paleo, and about 3 weeks, everything was gone. All the inflammation. Every time I ate, I was literally physically ill. My stomach would cramp. I would just be really in bad pain. My knee was swollen all the time. My back hurt. Just all of this stuff. What was interesting, let me back that up for a second. My back, I didn't realize my back hurt. It had gotten to be so normal that I was numb to it. But when it stopped hurting is when I noticed, and I was like, oh crap, I had a back thing and I don't have that anymore. It was so strange. And so anyway, about 6 weeks into paleo, our son played baseball, and we hadn't seen any of the parents of the team for probably 12 weeks. But I had been paleo about 6 weeks. And we showed up at the game, and all the parents were like, oh my God, you look amazing. You've lost so much weight. You look so healthy. Your skin's glowing. Your hair looks great. They were just like going on and on and on. And they were like, what are you doing? And of course, Keith claimed that I had this amazing trainer, and which I wasn't even training, which was kind of funny. But what was weird is, when you're on a sad diet, women yo-yo all the time.
Yeah.
Go up and down. So you can have any range of sizes in your closet, and it's a normal thing. So you don't even notice when you're losing weight or when you're so you're just going back into, this is just the normal thing you do. You just do this yo-yo thing. Well, what was interesting is that was like the day the light bulb went off. And I was like, they were like, so what are you doing? And I was like, I was just doing paleo. And it was really interesting. That was when I really realized, oh my God, this information could help people. Like this could be so helpful to people. Rob had not yet written his book yet.
Yeah, Rob Wolf, right?
He hadn't written the book yet, but that's how we ever found out about paleo, was through Rob. And Keith had developed a relationship with him and Art Devaney, and they were telling him about this. And so he tried it, and he was paleo for a year before I tried it. And
this is what, 2010?
No, this is back in 2005.
Whoa.
Yeah, 2005. He went paleo in 2004. I went paleo in 2005. And so, yeah, it's been a long time. And so what's interesting is we I don't know, when that happened, that's when I stopped writing for the other blogs and I did my own website. And so, yeah, like I said, I came into this kicking and screaming and completely in denial. But Keith says the day that I figured that out when we went to that game was the day a paleo evangelist was born. So.
That's great. And for anyone listening to this, and when you hear the word paleo, what we're trying to talk about is kind of an ancestral way of eating, typically cutting out inflammatory foods, cutting out foods that are high in toxins, and trying to really increase nutrient density. So typically healthy meats, lots of good veggies, the right amount of fruits and starch and carbs for you. And, I tend to use the term paleo template because we can really adjust it and the macronutrients. We can go more ketogenic. We can be more of a zone. So we have that flexibility within that paleo template. Does that make sense to you too? Are we in the same page with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that because at the end of the day, there's not one paleo diet.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like you said, there's this template and you start there and then you tweak and you figure out and you do these little hacks for what works for you. So I can tell you, Keith and I cannot eat all the same stuff. I can't eat the amount of carbs that Keith eats with regard to rice. I can't even eat rice. My blood sugar just spikes. But, with regard to rice or potatoes or, any of that kind of stuff, there are things I can eat that he can't. So he has issues with nightshades. I don't love tomatoes, love all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I don't have any issue with it. So, so there are things like that, we have to tweak for ourselves, even in the same household, that even when we start from the same template, there are times where we don't have the same meals.
So being an Italian chef, how did you come in there? What were your best pasta substitutes? Were you doing anything like miracle noodles where like you were doing kind of glucomannan type of pasta? What are your best subs there?
Okay. So initially my subs were rice noodles.
Yeah.
And until I figured out that I had a problem with rice noodles and zucchini noodles. I actually prefer the zucchini noodles to a regular pasta because it holds, it's much more firm. Yep. It holds your sauce really well. And the thing is that it's just so much more nutrient dense and I think it tastes better.
That's great.
And of course, you don't get any of the food coma afterwards either, because you
don't get that blood sugar dip. Yeah, I did miracle. I mein, I did zucchini noodles this week. Have you tried miracle noodles before?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
What's your take on those?
I think they're good. I just prefer the zoodles. I'm just one of those that's bang for your buck. If it's a little bit more nutrient dense, that's the way I want to go. So
I agree. The nutrient density is by far better. That's great.
Yeah. And then the other thing is too, is that my thought process around that too, is I would bet, I haven't tried it, so I'm not sure about this, but I would bet that those would probably spike my blood sugar a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I have to be real mindful of that, especially right now after the health stuff that I've been through. So, yeah.
And let's talk about that. I know you had a beautiful house in Central Austin. You found out there was some mold there in the last few years. So what's kind of been that journey? What were the big symptoms that you were noticing? Did you do any testing, or was it just like, oh my gosh, there's some mold that explains it, and then you got out of there and then you just felt better? How did you know? And then were there any testing involved for you?
Yeah. Okay. So we moved into that house in May of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. May of 2015. We owned a house in Kyle, and we rented that house out, and then we moved into the house in Austin because we were just in Austin every day. The commute didn't make sense for us because
Right.
cars. It was crazy. So we moved into this house, and we moved in on May the 8th. And that was literally, so 3 weeks before that, we were at a conference. Then the following weekend, we were at PaleoFX. Then the following weekend, we were at a conference up in New York. And then we came back home that weekend before we moved on that Thursday. So you can imagine that I'm thinking right now, I'm really seriously exhausted because I've gone through PaleoFX, through all this stuff. So we get into the house. Then about 10 days after we moved in, we went on a 10-day cruise. Then we came home. So that puts us towards the end of May. By June the 10th, I couldn't get out of bed.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what is happening to me? And I just thought that I was exhausted from all of that. That's what I initially thought. But then things just started not adding up. I just was like, okay, I was sleeping a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, okay, I should be getting better. I should be feeling a lot better. I wasn't. So I started really just doing some research and immediately came to the idea that there was mold. Well, we had a landlord. So we went to him. He said, absolutely not. There was no mold in the house. But I was like, I don't know what this is. This is crazy. And let me go back just a little bit. In March, I went in and had all my blood work done, and they had confirmed that I was in full menopause.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, whatever you're doing, though, I was doing ID nutrition and I was also doing paleo. They were like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because your blood looks great. Your hormones look really good. We don't need to give you any hormones. Anyway, sorry, I have dogs here. I apologize.
It's all good.
So they were like, you don't need any hormones. So June 10th, I can't get out of bed. I start doing all this research, and then I thought, oh crap, maybe it's my hormones. So I go in, I have literally zero hormones, none. So they put me on hormones. I start feeling a little bit better, but not quite that good. And so I'm just like trying to figure out what's going on. And then October 15th through November 10th, I gained 28 pounds.
Whoa.
In less than 1 month, I gained 28 pounds. And so I was like, okay, what's going on? Well, a friend of ours who happens to be a hormone specialist was in town. We were talking to her. I was asking her about it. She says, well, what kind of hormones are you taking? And I told her I was taking a combined estrogen and testosterone cream and a progesterone pill. And she said, she goes, just from what you're telling me, she goes, I'm betting that you're one of that small minority of women that cannot take it. And she goes, this is new evidence that's coming out, that's starting to come out, that you are one of those minute number of women that cannot have their estrogen and their testosterone together. They need to be separated by 12 hours. I was like, okay, well then that was a battle with my doctor. Like it took me 2.5 months to get him to
get that separated.
Yeah. And then finally I was just like, look, I'm not going to keep doing it. So you need to, I need the hormones. So you're going to have to do it my way. And so finally he gave in. Well, I dropped all the weight like pretty quickly. But what I realized later was I was literally spending every day at the office, not at the house. Like literally if I had to work, I had to pull my computer into bed. It was that bad. And so when I started working at the office, I was at the office from like 8 in the morning until 11:30 at night. So I was spending almost all day out of the house and only a few hours in the house. So I believe that's why I was able to drop the weight. And so I think it really didn't have a lot to do with it might have had something to do with the hormones being together, but I think ultimately it was, I was out of the house. And so I did really pretty good. I was okay. But then again, after PaleoFX was over and I went back to being in the house again, it all came right back. And I went back and gained another 27 pounds.
Wow.
And, being paleo, I had only fluctuated in weight up and down 4 pounds over 14 years. I guess it's about 14 years, right? And so I was just like, what in the world, man? This doesn't make any sense. So then I started really doing a lot of research and realized, okay, I've got an issue. So I went in and I was tested. I had high mycotoxin count, high, all my heavy metals were super high.
Do you remember what labs you did for the mycotoxins? Was that the real-time labs one?
Honestly, I don't. I just know that it was a battle to get my doctor to do them. But I just kept telling him, look, I just feel like I have a mold exposure. Can you please do the test? I ended up also doing the nose, the Marcons test.
Yes.
Anyway, did the Marcons, and that was off the charts. And so anyway, knew really pretty quickly, okay, I've got a mold exposure. So we got aericides in our house because we were in a lease. We couldn't leave. And so we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. And it's just, what was interesting is I started a protocol with Ryan Freisinger. I don't know, you got to meet Ryan. And so Ryan started me on this protocol. I went and had all the mercury removed from my mouth, did a chelation, and then went back after that on like 21 days later and had no heavy metals in my body, which was awesome. Because normally that's a long process that doesn't happen that quickly usually. But because I was able to remove the heavy metals, the other thing that was interesting too is at that time, I also stopped taking all of my migraine medications. And it was a painful process. Like it was super painful. But what I did is I started using essential oils. So anytime I would start getting a headache, I would put essential oils on my neck and rub it throughout my scalp. Hey, sorry, we've got a friend. This is Tosca. She likes to be seen. For some reason, she jumps up almost every time I'm on a live or something.
Here's my dog right here. Her name's Butter.
Oh, that's Butter. This is Tosca.
Butter. Nice. Very cute.
I have Butter every morning. That's she has Butter. She's got some type of autoimmune thing that we can't get rid of. And so she's on the medication and she gets Butter every morning.
Oh, that's good. And you feeding her like a paleo kind of dog food too?
Oh yeah. Yeah. All of the dogs are paleo.
Raw.
Fully
That's
paleo.
awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, so what was interesting is after going through that process, I started doing the essential oils and started using ice packs more. I used ice packs before, but I started really using ice packs, an ice pack around the shoulders and an ice pack around the forehead. And I started realizing that I wasn't getting the headaches as much after a couple of weeks. It was a process of getting all of that out of my system. But I was like, oh my God, I was finally like clear and not having I woke up with a headache almost every single morning.
And that makes sense too, because I work with lots of menopausal females, and the big issue is as you start transitioning into menopause, you start leaning on your adrenal glands more to help pick up the hormonal slack because the ovaries now aren't coming to the table with the hormones that used to be there when you're cycling. So the problem is your adrenals are also your stress handling glands. So now you're beating them up with stress, and then now you're also looking for them to come and produce extra hormones so you can feel good and feel balanced and recover from all these different stressors. So then now you get this backup generator essentially that you've run dry, and then now the power's out and now you need it to kind of get the hormones going. So that makes sense. And then of course you plug in this extra stressor of the mold and then all these conferences back to back to back. That totally makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. So it's been a really long slog. We figured out that what happened is that my this severe mold exposure not only was at the wrong time because I was in menopause, but it also kicked up Epstein-Barr. So so then I started a protocol for getting rid of the Epstein-Barr. I'm on the last bit of that protocol right now. But the other part of this too is that I started a keto diet and started the keto diet in December, December. And so far I've been able to lose 15 of the 27 pounds. So I still have 12 to go, but I feel a lot better. And what's been interesting is it's been kind of like a game of figuring out, on the keto diet. What is it that really taps in and works for me on the weight loss with keto is I finally figured out is I have to do really, really low carbs, a lot more fat, and a moderate amount of protein, and a lot of sleep. I mean, that's the number one thing. Women, go to sleep. If you want to lose weight, go to sleep. Because I noticed that when my sleep is better and I use sleep app and everything, and I've got a leaf that tracks my sleep, and I'm getting ready to get the Aura Ring. And so I'm just going to tell you, if you want to lose weight, go to sleep. I mean, that's the best thing. And then what I do is every 5 days, I cycle carbs in, and I have to keep my fat low that day. And then I cycle some carbs in on that day, like sweet potatoes, or if that's when I want to do some chocolate treats or something like that, that's when I'll do it. Or some kind of, maybe I want tortillas or whatever, but I have to really watch that. And, anyway, and then I will like lose weight, especially if I go to sleep. The other thing is too, is that I sauna almost every single night. I do it.
Cool.
Sauna. So,
you do a sauna in your house? What kind do you have?
I have a Sunlight.
Oh, so, cool.
Yeah. I had this other sauna thing.
Sauna space?
No. I wished I would have had that, but no, I had this other one that I got off of Amazon or whatever, but I was like desperate to get something. Yeah. And anyway, it was helpful in helping getting rid of toxins, but it's not the same as the infrared. And there's a marked difference in the infrared versus the heat sauna.
Yes.
Wet, hot sauna. Marked difference, for one thing, in my sleep, and just in my skin too, and just knowing that I'm getting rid of toxins. I don't know.
And that's interesting that you talked about the sleep, because there's a lot of research showing that if you cut down your sleep, it actually can make you pre-diabetic, meaning it's really increasing your blood sugar level. So a lot of people, especially in like the paleo natural health community, they're like, oh, let's cut our carbs, let's increase our fat, let's lower our blood sugar via our diet and maybe exercise too. But people forget that you can throw your blood sugar off with poor sleep. So that makes sense, maybe why that sleep was making a huge difference. Also, it's, repairing your body and all that too, with all those good anabolic hormones as well.
Oh yeah. And I couldn't agree with you more. So I test my ketones and I test my blood sugar not every morning, but every couple of days. And last night I, for some reason, did not sleep well. I think we've just got a lot going on, and my brain could not shut down no matter what I seem to do. And I don't meditate before I go to sleep. And it was interesting. Last night, I ended up only sleeping about 4.5 hours, and I woke up and my blood sugar was 102. And I was fully keto yesterday. So that is a definitive, I completely agree with you there. Your sleep is a big indicator of whether or not you're going to be able to help control your blood sugar and keep that down. But I had 4.5 hours of sleep last night, and my blood sugar was 102, and I had exactly 12.4 carbs yesterday. So
wow.
And
how are you testing your ketones? Are you doing the new Keto Mojo, or are you doing the Abbott Precision Extra one?
I'm doing the Precision Extra.
Yeah, that's what I have too. I got mine right here. I test a couple times a day.
Yeah, mine's right there. Anyway,
that's cool.
Yeah, so I do that, and I will test my ketones and then my blood sugar. And that was the other thing, is it knocked me out of ketosis.
Yeah.
It was weird. I was like, wait, how? Okay. And then I realized, okay, it had to do with my sleep. So when I sleep good, I wake up, my blood sugar is pretty even, around 82 to 85. And I usually have my ketones are at a 0.4, 0.5, around there. And I don't know. So yeah, sleep is the big one, ladies. Man.
Totally. And I'm just curious, how are you applying your keto paleo template? I know you kind of cycle up and down. What does that look like for the listeners? What's a breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And then do you apply any intermittent fasting? And then what's your frequency for cycling those carbs in?
Yes. So I do intermittent fast. I am on a 6-hour feeding window. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm in fast. I do most of the time in the morning. If I'm going to do anything, I will. I'll do Sorry, I had a dog come up again. We have 4, so I apologize for all the barking and stuff. But so I'll do like a bulletproof type chai. I don't do. I don't do coffee. I've been decaffeinated for years, but I love decaffeinated coffee. But I find that I have to have cream with my coffee, and that's just too many carbs for me. So I do a little bit of butter and some MCT oil and some chai, and I actually really like that. And so that's usually what I do in the mornings if I'm going to do anything. I will usually have for lunch, I start eating right around 12:30, 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. And I will have maybe a couple of eggs, a couple of slices of bacon, and an avocado. And then in the evening, I have to finish eating by 6:30. And I generally will have some kind of complex carb, like, I'll have cauliflower or broccoli, or I'll have some kale or a little salad and about 4 or 5 ounces of protein. And that's it. And then if I want, if I need a little extra fat, I have these little fat bombs that have no carbs in them. So it's just cacao butter and sorry, y'all. It's a little bit of cacao butter and a little bit of erythritol.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Anyway, and I'm gonna hurt some dogs. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's okay. No worries. No biggie.
They're getting all excited about something. Don't want to get butter stirred up.
I know, right? Yeah, she's okay. I got my little earpiece here, so she's good.
Okay. She can't hear it.
She can't hear, but that's great. So in general, that's good on the diet stuff. So it sounds like your macros, sounds like you're sitting maybe around a 15% protein, 60 or 70% fat, and maybe a 10% carbish. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. So it's supposed to be less than 25
protein.
25. No, less than 25 carbs a day.
Yes.
I'm right, just under 100 of fat, and I'm about 80 of protein. I can tell you, I never hit it.
Okay.
I hit fat every time, but I can't hit that protein, and I found it actually works for me. I'm fine. I feel good, and I feel I'm starting to get my energy back, and feeling, and I'm losing weight, and yeah, I found that I've pretty much got it dialed in now, what I need.
That's good. And you feel like even though you're doing the 6-hour window IF, you're okay with doing the fat in your chai tea in the morning. So like you wouldn't count that as part of your feeding window in the morning when you have that.
No, yeah. When I do have it, like I'm having it today, so I'll end up I just started drinking it about 11:15, right after you and I had made it and then set it down. So 11:15. So then I'll pull my window down a little bit and eat. Make sure I'm done eating probably like by 6. So my feeding window is supposed to be 6 to 6.5 hours. Originally, Ryan wanted me to be in a 9-hour and then to shift to the 6.5 hours over the 6 months. But I found I was automatically doing it. Like that was where I was at. So I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to stay there. So.
And you notice a big difference going from like 6 to like 8? Like, was there a big shift for you or?
No, because I just automatically just did it. I
defaulted to the 6.
It worked out that way. And what's interesting is, I didn't know how that was going to affect me, but I realized that I feel more even keel when I don't have a bigger window to eat in, and that I'm not eating more. Cause then, it doesn't matter what you're eating, you're going to have an insulin response. And so, keeping from having multiple insulin responses, I try to only have my insulin response happen a couple of times a day at the most. So I try not to. If I'm going to eat, I'm going to try to eat everything I'm going to eat in that short period of time, so that I get the one insulin response and that's it, and then another insulin response and that's it. So,
and the big mistake I see a lot of people make, and I'm curious to get your take on it too, to see if you're doing it or not, is if you shorten this window, let's say this is your 6-hour eating window, is you have to make sure you get all your calories and nutrients in this window. So let's say you need 2,000 calories for a round number, but because that feeding window is compressed, maybe you're only getting 1,500. So you have a 500 calorie nutrient deficit, so to speak. So I'm just curious, are you getting enough calories in that window for you too?
I'm actually hitting over the calories that I'm really allotted.
How many do you need? Like maybe 1,600, 18?
13.
Okay, so 13.
Where my BMI is and actually I know what I have a DEXA, so but where I'm at, it needs to be 1,300. It's 1,308 is actually what my calories intake is supposed to be a day, and I can tell you I hit it easy.
And with that amount, you feel satiated too. You don't still feel hungry at the end.
I never feel hungry. I feel good. I don't feel and like I said, I do, if I feel like, okay, I need a little bit of the fat bomb thing, I do that. But I try to do that while if I had dinner, right, do it right with my dinner so that I only still have that one insulin response. This is what's interesting to me. There's been all of the information out there. Oh, you should have 6 meals a day. Well, you got your insulin responding all day long. I mean, like, you're never going to lose weight doing that. You're also putting a big stress on. I mean, that's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't understand is when you are spiking an insulin response, you're putting stress on your body. And the thing is that yes, in some cases it's a good stress, but when you're doing it that often, where you're eating 6 small meals a day, you're getting a lot more work out of you're making your pancreas work a whole lot more than it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm getting a lot of questions in from the listeners about calories and such. And just for everyone listening, when I'm talking about calories, when we're talking about whole food, nutrient dense foods, calories are going to have nutrition attached to them when we're talking about real food. The difference is in the world we live in, there's a lot of foods that are very high in calories that have no nutrition attached to them. So we can't compare apples to oranges there, but when we talk about calories, it's just an easy way to make sure that you're getting enough nutrition, because I know Michelle's eating nutrient dense whole food. So every calorie is packed with nutrition. Would you agree, Michelle?
Yeah, I totally agree. So, like you said, there's a lot of foods that have high calories, but they have zero nutrient density, like Doritos or Cheetos or Fritos or any of those things. Why do all of those have toes at the end of them? I
know. That is weird.
But this is the thing. Those are super high fat, high sugar, high carbohydrate, all of those things. But the calories there's nothing in it that's nutrient dense whatsoever.
And Keith, I think it was Keith that talked to me about this last time, where they were putting some chemical in the Dorito, and then that was causing you to crave more sugar afterwards. Yes. I forget what he was. Go ahead. What was that?
That's actually part of our talk tomorrow. Is
cool.
Atomic Doritos. So what you do is you get a little flavor packet with your Doritos, and they're nacho cheese Doritos, and you put the flavor packet into the bag, you shake it, whatever. Well, the distribution is not going to be even, more than likely, unless you just but you're going to beat your Doritos up and they're going to be all particles. So what's going to happen is that you have a little bit of atomic on every, a little bit on like more pops of it throughout the bag. And what happens is that we spike our dopamine response when we are anticipating an event.
Yes.
So when we're sitting there eating the Doritos, this Dorito may just only have the nacho cheese, no atomic. But as we're eating, we're anticipating that we're going to get to that. Your dopamine is responding. Yeah. And so this is something that the food chemical people know about us. So when we do this, we are eating, we are spiking that dopamine. And then, yes, we need to come back in with sugar. And usually it's Coke or it's some kind of soda pop or whatever. And so that's usually what you're going to do. And of course they're in bed together. So that's a whole other story. But so there was Rob talked about this in one of his talks at Ancestral Health Symposium. There was I believe it was Man versus Food or something, some show. And the guy on the show was in an ice cream eating contest. And it's some big, huge thing that's like 40 ounces of ice cream or whatever. And he's shoveling it down and shoveling it down and shoveling it down. And he's doing really well. And then all of a sudden he starts kind of turning green and like he can't do anymore. And he's got a certain amount of time he's got to finish this in. So he asks them for a order of French fries. So he gets the French fries, he eats a few French fries, and then what happens is that tampers that back down, and now he can put more sweet. And then he was able to finish it in time to win whatever it was. It's like some pig something contest or something. It's a big, huge this Sunday. And that's this is where we're biologically and chemically made. This is how we're made. And so the thing is that he would not have been able to finish that ice cream if he had not had the salt, if he hadn't had that that
salt kind of sugar combo there. Yeah.
Which is why all junk foods are filled with both salt and both sugar. So because they get you needing to eat more. That's why Lay's is their tagline is bet you can't eat just one. Yeah, because they are chemically made so you have to have more. It's food with no breaks.
Yeah. So, it's like the Pringle commercials in the 90s. Once you pop, you can't stop, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, totally. It's just that dopamine response. And we are unfortunately, and unless we're mindful about how we eat, we are actually being kind of just controlled in that respect, because you're doing what your body is wanting it to do. And the problem is that when those things come in and they kick up your dopamine response and they shut down your satiety receptors, you're screwed. Like, your body's never going to say enough. I don't need it anymore. I'm full, because you're going to keep having the back and forth.
Yeah. And your hormones and your neurotransmitters are stronger than your willpower. So if you don't know what's happening and you're eating certain foods that are throwing your hormones and your neurotransmitters off, dopamine, et cetera, and causing blood sugar swings, that's going to take away any willpower you have. So the first thing you need to do is, just put good things in your house, and then that's going to start shifting your hormones and your neurotransmitters. Then you can start choosing the right foods. And if you start getting more fat adapted, you start getting more ketones in your system. And ketones are actually very satiating. They really connect the brain, the part of the brain, the apostat that controls satiation. It really talks to it and quells those cravings. So then when you're making decisions, you can make it based off of what's best for you, not feeding that beast of those neurotransmitters are bouncing up and down like you mentioned.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's like having a monkey on your back, and you're constantly having to feed that monkey. It's like, I really equate that to an addiction. Like, it's the same thing. It is exactly the same thing for somebody that's addicted to some type of drug. We get addicted to, we need the sugar, we need the salt, we need the sugar, we need the salt. We are addicted to that. And so, and the thing is that it's hardwired into the way we were built as humans. So we can't go against the biology. What we have to do is learn how to work with it and learn how to not become kind of a pawn in the food manufacturer's game. So.
Yeah, well, this information, people can be empowered. So I love that. That's phenomenal. And then real quick too, I want to just back up a little bit. What did you do to help lower the mycotoxin levels outside of just the obvious, you were renting your house so you can move out, which is convenient, but what were you doing on the supplement side? I know you mentioned some sauna stuff. What supplements were you doing as well?
Okay. So I do ID nutrition, which is customized to me. And so then the other thing is that I had some EBV virus protocols that Ryan had gotten for me. So I was using those to try to help get rid of that.
And that was the Epstein-Barr virus. And what was that? Were you doing monolaurin or reishi or cat's claw? What kind of antivirals were you doing?
I'm going to tell you, it's Epstein-Barr protocol. It is by, I'm trying to see the bottles over here because I'm like, what is that company? Hang on, let me grab it. So it's Des Bio. So I don't know if you can see that, but.
Oh, Des Bio. Yep. I've heard of them. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, it's I think it's the real full name is Deseret or Desiree Biologicals. But this is my final one. I had a different one. So he had me on several of these tinctures, and I was taking some in the morning and some in the evening, and that's really what helped get rid of was this particular protocol. And I know that they have an actual mold protocol, a full mold protocol, but he had me on a couple of different things instead of that. But I would imagine that mold protocol probably works really well. But
great. So you were on that with the EBV, and was there anything else were you doing? Were you doing any activated charcoal or any citrus pectins or any glutathione, things like that?
No, actually, he had me intentionally off of glutathione, but I was I'm taking a homocysteine type of tablet, and then just really the big thing was sleep. I mean, like he was just on me about sleep. You've got to figure out and get your sleep right. And then trying to think if there was anything. Oh, and then they also have a full detox program that's really cool. That was one of the things that helped get rid of all the heavy metals. Was I went through that protocol. I've done that protocol 3 times now. And but there's an Epstein-Barr protocol. It's 2 boxes. It's 10 tinctures in each box, and you do the tincture every 3 days, and then you do it the next box in reverse. And so really started really feeling great after that, and started getting back and actually started really losing weight once I did that with the keto. So.
That's great. And then how about the female hormone stuff? Was just separating was it the estrogen and the testosterone? Did that make a bigger difference with the migraines?
Actually, I came off of all my hormones. And
oh, great.
They have a hormone combination, and I do the hormone combination. And the only thing that I went back on was my progesterone in the evening for sleep. And so it's interesting, after taking this tincture it's called hormone combination. I take that in the morning and in the evening, and I actually just redid my hormones not too long ago, like a couple of weeks ago. And what's funny is I'm actually taking hormone replacement for progesterone. My progesterone was not high enough. I was like, wait, what? But my estrogen and my testosterone were fine. And one thing that we've realized too through this process is that I'm very estrogen dominant. So the combination was really helpful in helping balance out that estrogen and getting everything right. But my progesterone is still low. So, but I'm taking the highest dose. So we're not sure.
How many milligrams? 100, 200?
200.
Yeah.
And, so I think I think that might have been an anomaly. It might be something weird, or maybe I think I missed my progesterone a couple of nights that week before. So that might be it. I don't know. So we'll see. She can't go up on my my progesterone anyway. So we're just going to wait it out and see how that works out.
And I see it a lot in my patients too. I see that because progesterone's it's higher up in the hormonal cascade than cortisol. So what happens is, if the more stressed you are, you'll actually pull from progesterone to make that stress hormone cortisol. And that makes sense, that all those stressful episodes can easily pull that progesterone down and basically start skewing you into estrogen dominance, where that ratio of progesterone, which is typically like 23 to 25 times higher than estrogen, it starts to drop. And that makes sense with that estrogen dominance that you mentioned before.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm feeling a lot better. So I'm thinking that we'll probably we'll just wait it out and see how my progesterone works out the next.
Love it.
So
very cool. Any other knowledge bombs you want to drop? Anything else that you think is very important that you learned, or anything else about your health challenges that you're going on that you want to teach listeners about?
Probably one of the things that is to just really be, this is particularly women are this way. We tend to not take care of ourselves. We take care of everybody else first. But it's that thing of being on a plane and, the oxygen masks drop. You have to put your own on first before you
love that.
House. And so I really started learning that I have to protect my sleep. I have to protect my time to take care of myself and not feel bad about it, because the thing is that a lot of people depend on me. And if I am not able to do what I need to do because I'm not taking care of myself, then I'm letting them down anyway. So this is the whole thing, is I think that we go through this thing of I come last and you need to come first. And so that would probably be the biggest thing that I would say I've learned through all of this, is that I have to come first. I can't let myself go last, because I mean, that doesn't mean I'm selfish and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do anything for anybody else. It just means I have to protect that time so that I make sure that I'm the best that I can possibly be for everybody else. And
yeah, totally makes sense, right? I mean, you can't write a check for money in the bank you don't have. You can't write an energetic check for energy you don't have in your energetic bank, right? And you got to make those deposits with time and sleep and good nutrition and making yourself a priority. So I think that's really good mindset advice.
Yeah. And then the other thing is too, is I take a lot of time for myself in the morning and in the evening to bookend my day. So I usually do some type of meditation in the morning and some type of uplifting reading. And then in the evening, same thing. I do the same exact thing. I do meditation and I do some type of uplifting reading. One of the things that I noticed that I cannot do at night is that I cannot read self-help books because then my brain starts going and I'm like, oh, I want to get up and I need to go do this and I need to go do that. And so I have learned to read things that are uplifting, but they're not going to make my brain start going. So.
Love it. That's phenomenal. Well, I urge all the listeners to head over to see the South by Southwest talk at the Palmer Health Event Center with you and Keith tomorrow. That is phenomenal. That'll be March 10th for any of the listeners listening live. And then PaleoFX is going to be the last weekend in April this year?
Yes, the 27th through the 29th. And then we also have Health Entrepreneur FX, which is the day before for anybody that's in the space. And we have JJ Virgin and Dr. Mercola will both be at the Health Entrepreneur FX. And of course, at PaleoFX, Sarah Ballantyne, it's packed.
Yeah, Chris Kresser, Rob Wolf. Yeah, the gamut. That's great.
Yeah. Incredible. But we have, Dr. Perlmutter is coming back this year. We have, like I said earlier, we have Paul Check, which
great.
I'm excited about him. JJ Virgin, Dr. Mercola. I am so losing my mind here.
There's so many people. You got 50, 60 people there, but PaleoFX.com, you'll have all the speakers listed there as well. I'm excited to be back too.
Yes, it's going to be an incredible event. I'm excited. We're making a lot of changes to this event this year. We also have the On It World Open will be being held at PaleoFX, which is super cool. We have pole dancing will be at PaleoFX. Wow. And I'm really excited about all these things because I think they're going to be add a really cool element of fun, and it's just going to be a great show.
Love it. We'll put the link to get your tickets and everything below here. If you're listening or you're on the podcast, click the description there and PaleoFX.com for more info. Awesome, Michelle. Well, thank you so much. I'll do a little video here. I'll put it out in the weeks before PaleoFX comes out of my top 3 things I've learned at PaleoFX. I'll put a little plug out there. I asked you those 3 questions earlier. I'll answer mine in a later video. So thank you so much for coming on and all the great info you shared and also your health story. I appreciate that. People can learn a lot from other people's health challenges, and I think that's really insightful.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing everybody at PaleoFX.
Thanks, Michelle. Take care.
Thank you.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com.